invested in the $640 million in negotiable data bonds that you unlocked in Poland. Money. Terrorists.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hotline, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay guys, so I'm warning you, a little fair warning here. Brace yourselves for something that is beyond scandalous. The old subcommittee just exposed how deep the rabbit hole of USA foreign aid really goes. And as with most of these stories, it's even much worse than you initially thought. Now, is it surprising? Not really, because the unfortunate reality is that we've kind of grown accustomed to these kinds of stories. But even though it's not exactly surprising, it certainly is shocking, and the scale of it is almost hard to wrap your head around. So we already knew that billions of dollars, if not billions of taxpayer dollars, are ending up in the hands of terrorists. But now, apparently, we're learning that this wasn't happening due to incompetence or some sort of naivete. No, this was deliberate. When you guys see this testimony and just the scale of it, it's going to be a shock to the conscience, to tell you that much. Again, let's just finish the intro by what I've said a million times here at this point. This is what they were spending your hard-earned tax dollars on. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so it's a pretty long clip. I'm actually going to segment it and we'll go through it one by one. So we've got a whistleblower here who was a senior vetting officer at USAID that just testified that Washington is being actively lobbied by NGOs, the United Nations, and other foreign agents to ensure that there is a zero vetting process for these contracts.
There's the story. Our foreign aid post.
You have international NGOs, UN agencies actively lobbying here in Washington, D.C. against vetting policies that would prevent it. I was the senior vetting officer at USAID, and what about it?
You say United Nations is doing this.
You ensure that everybody's getting money lobbies here.
So if you're wondering how the Taliban could be chilling in USA tents and taking photos with American supplied equipment, this is how. The people running these so-called aid programs were literally lobbying Congress to keep the grift going. This is exactly why foreign aid has become so bloated and wasteful. The same corrupt bureaucrats who are supposed to oversee this money are instead using their positions to protect the grift. These people aren't helping starving children, they aren't building hospitals, and they sure as hell aren't making the world a safer place. They're lining their pockets, making sure their buddies in Congress keep the cash flowing. Think about how insane this is. American taxpayers sending billions of dollars in aid, and the people managing that money are then lobbying Congress to block any oversight. It's racketeering on a global scale. They take taxpayer dollars, hand them off to NGOs and charities, and then funnel a portion back into lobbying to ensure that they can keep receiving those taxpayer dollars. It's a friggin' scam. It's government-sanctioned theft. The Democrats love to scream about the rich not paying their fair share. Meanwhile, their entire operation is one massive scheme to steal from hardworking taxpayers and send money overseas while taking a cut. And what's even more disgusting is that this aid isn't even going where they claim. Instead of helping civilians, it's literally going to terrorist groups like the Taliban.
Mr. Roman, are you aware that we are sending $40 million a week to the Taliban?
Yes, sir.
Can you name other instances of foreign aid going to terrorist organizations?
We have assisted Al-Shabaab in Somalia. There's been instances of the Hamzi network in Sudan, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Hezbollah, Hayat Abdul al-Shams in Syria, dozens of terror organizations.
Man, people need to go to fucking jail, man.
That's foreign aid.
And if you thought that was bad, it gets even worse. As it turns out that USA has been privately funding its own lobbying efforts to influence Congress into blocking any kind of financial oversight.
They're lobbying against us. I'm sorry, Mr. Roman.
There's actually someone who used to work for one of those lobbies, the largest NGO lobby, Interaction. One of our co-edists here worked on 2018 to 2023. USAID effectively self-funds its own external private lobby that then goes back to Congress and asks for more money for USAID.
So taxpayers fund this lobbyist working against American interests, correct? Possibly killing our allies and possibly Americans.
They bring together groups in Washington that oversee support with groups that kill Americans.
Yeah, I don't even think Charlie should have. Appreciate it.
Let me repeat this. A government agency is taking American taxpayer dollars and using that money to lobby against transparency on how they spend American taxpayer dollars. Political corruption is so brazen, so disgusting.
Man, it's some
that
bullshit.
This is straight out of George Orwell's 1984. And here we go again. I'm going to say the same thing. If you thought that was bad, hold on. It gets even worse. Again, because according to this USA whistleblower, Joe Biden personally ended the process of checking USA foreign aid against databases of known terrorists.
We had a regulation before we left in the last administration that anybody who touches money in the area, in countries where there's terrorists, those things have to go to databases, terrorist databases. That was overturned by Biden.
Overturned by Biden.
So there used to be a system in place that was specifically designed to prevent your money from going to the people.
Well, we bunch of assholes.
And Biden shut it down. Why? What possible excuse could there be for this, other than continuing to fund both sides of these conflicts, further enabling global chaos, which is, of course, real good for the military contractors, now isn't it? Actually, as I was watching this testimony, I was reminded of this Mike Pence clip from the Joe Rogan podcast.
Turns out there's a get out of sponsoring terrorism green card at USAID, which is that USAID cannot directly provide funding to terrorist groups, but their contractors are not required under the grant agreements to go through those, low fact style, those counter-terrorism financing. If a bank did it, you would go directly to jail. Do not pass go, do not have liberty again for the next 20 years of your life. But if USAID does it, it's completely legal right now. And so this is how you have USAID giving, they just last week $122 million to ISIS. They fund all the terrorist groups in Pakistan. They fund the terrorist groups in the Sahel in Africa.
Wow.
Paramilitary terrorist groups are extremely useful to U.S. statecraft as for special operations work, as well as for political stabilization. The Mujahideen, Vivian Kaczynski, I believe this is around 1789, airdropping out of a helicopter at 70. And if you want to airdrop out of the helicopter and make the exact same speech that John McCain made to the Azov battalion, the extremist paramilitary faction of Ukraine that was banned from getting federal funding, in 2014 when the Democrats said they're all Nazis, but now they're all, sponsored and get standing ovations from the halls of Congress because now they are geopolitically useful to come up to capacity. The whole point was to come up with this fundamentalist, extremist, terrorist group with the funding and support they need, but without revealing America's role. Hello, USAID.
Yeah, it seems there was something very sinister happening behind the curtain at USAID, and now the lid is being blown off of it. The whole thing is being exposed. And honestly, it's so extreme, it's so shocking, it's almost unbelievable if it wasn't so believable. I don't know about you guys, but this seems to go beyond just corruption. This seems criminal. This seems like a betrayal of the American people on a historic scale. It's the most grotesque example of bureaucratic corruption and outright treasonous behavior, I think, that I've ever seen. And the worst part is, Democrats will still sit there clutching their pearls and pretend like none of this is happening or none of it is really of concern. There needs to be immediate investigations. No more terrorism funding in the name of foreign aid. Is that really too much to ask? Is that too high of a bar to set? Oh, freaking hell. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Fucked up how we getting just robbed, dick in the booty, dealing with these fucking criminals. And it ain't much of shit that we can do. That's the fucked up part about all this shit. I'm Mr. Glass, 48. Weasel News. You weasel, you. Making news.